The stakes involved in the crucial Senate races could not be any higher. Take a look at the 6 battleground states that hold the keys of power to the United States Senate, a position that Republicans are keenly focused on as the presidential race between party nominees Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton gets tighter. To the numbers, the money. The money the parties are devoting to races in those states, with the GOP focusing the most funding on the race in Pennsylvania between Senator Pat Toomey and Katie McGinty, with nearly $19 million in their war chest for that showdown. They want Pat Toomey to win that one. And when wealthy GOP donors get the call to give some money, we've got the man who's on the other end of the phone line with them, Republican donor and former chairman of the law firm Milbank Tweed, Hadley and McCloy, Mel Immergut. Great to see you, Mel.
Thanks.
Well, how do they respond when you pick up the phone and you call her? How does this work? Are you calling people in individual states, or are you calling wealthy people in New York or California to say, help out with Pennsylvania?
I'm basically calling people that that I've gotten to know over the years as donors, and a number of them have been on the sidelines more than normal in the presidential campaign, and I'm encouraging them, if they haven't gotten involved already, that this is the crucial time, the next 2 weeks, to really get in on the Senate, because it is so crucial that no matter what the result here, whether it be Secretary Clinton or Donald Trump, that we have to keep control of the Senate.
What do you sense from wealthy people that you're calling to ask for money from? Are they saying, listen, I'm out this time around, or are they picking individual states? The 6 states that we're talking about, Nevada, New Hampshire. New Hampshire's incredibly tight here. Pennsylvania, North Carolina.
So the 2 that I have been most involved in, and I just happened to pick 2 where friends of mine were the candidate, is New Hampshire and Ohio. I've been particularly focused in the last 10 days on Kelly Ayotte in New Hampshire, because I think Rob Portman is in really good shape. And Kelly obviously is in a very close race.
With Maggie Hassan, the Democrat.
With a strong candidate on the other side, a governor who's obviously got great name recognition in the state, and a state that is a difficult state as far as the presidential campaign is concerned.
Let me jump in about Missouri. Roy Blunt, the Republican, is facing off against Jason Kander, a younger, before was a relative unknown. He has tightened the race. He's a former Army guy, Mr. Kander, and he's actually narrowed that race.
So he's tightened the race, that's right. I still think that is looking pretty good. I would say, if I was handicapping it, that Marco Rubio and Rob Portman, and probably Blunt in Missouri, that they're really in good shape. I think there are a bunch that are too close to call. Kelly would certainly be one of those. Richard Burr would be another.
That, of course, North Carolina, Deborah Ross is the Democrat facing off against him.
Those are 2 races that are really close and difficult to call, and I think that's where a lot of the focus has got to be now. Todd Young in Indiana, who surprisingly has closed the gap a lot with Evan Bayh, is another place where a lot of focus and money is now being directed.
And of course, Nevada. Joe Heck is the Republican against Catherine Cortez Masto. You can't ignore the fact that you've got Masto, you've got, oh goodness, Deborah Ross, Maggie Hassan, lots of Katie McGinty. Yes, they're women. Yeah, Captain Obvious Liz, I know that. But this issue with Donald Trump, you're not involved in the presidential campaign, but that's a wall to climb, is it not?
It is. In some of these states where Donald is polling badly, obviously that's a real issue for the Republican candidate. Senator McConnell has, of course, announced in the last couple of days that his leadership PAC, which has been an important funding source here, is trying to raise $25 million in the last 10 or 12 days to catch up to what is a funding shortfall now that we have. I think there's a really good chance that's going to happen, because that's a super PAC, so some big donations can really make that up. and I'm optimistic that those big donations are going to come in.
Again, you're not dealing with the presidential election, but the guy in charge of the purse strings and trying to raise money, Steve Mnuchin of Donald Trump's campaign, had done an interview with the Washington Post in the last 48 hours, in essence saying, we've kind of wound down on the fundraising. The online fundraising is continuing, but Mel, is that the sound of a towel being thrown in, or what is that the sound of, and does it help or hurt your efforts?
Yeah, I don't know, because, as I say, I'm not at all involved at that level, at the presidential level. I think that, if anything, to the extent people are not as optimistic as they'd like to be vis-a-vis the top of the ticket, the presidential part, it's going to incentivize people, because the concept of divided government is then going to be much more important, because Republicans, be they on the Trump side or on the fence or not on the Trump side here, are going to feel as if, in order to combat the impact that Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders are going to have on Hillary, it's really going to be crucial to keep the Senate.
Mel, thank you. You're doing yeoman's work for the Republican Party. Hope they appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mel Immergut is the guy on the other end of the line when wealthy Republicans get the call, give some money for these down ballot fights. Thank you so much.